Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Design Planet Coaster. This is episode 11 and I know, I have to apologize. It's been 2 weeks since the last episode, but we're going to be accomplishing quite a bit on this one. Even though it might seem short, it's only like 19 minutes and 35 seconds according to what Premiere is telling me right now, the time code. We're going to be doing quite a bit because I've been recording for about 4.5 hours. In fact, I recorded slightly more than that, but I deleted some of the clips that were no good. What I mean by no good, I was just trying out different techniques, but I couldn't get the results that I wanted, so I figured not waste your time and get rid of those. Thankfully, I didn't delete the rest of the episode like I did 2 weeks ago. I want to thank you all for letting me know like all these tools to recover the files. I should have probably explained. It was already, I think I mentioned this, but it was way too late when I was recording that. And I figured it was easier for me to re-record the episode. It was like 2 a.m. on a Friday or something like that. It was just way easier for me to re-record the episode and not have to learn, a software that would record my files. And on top of that, I needed to record the voiceover. Yeah, I'm not going to bore you with details, but that's why I did the thing again. And honestly, I think the result was better that way, because it helped me move faster and show you a semi-final result of this Hobbit-style houses that, as you can see now, I'm basically completing with the same sort of aesthetic and adding details throughout. You will also notice that I added a tiny little round window on the door. When I said in the previous episode that I was going to be building a Hobbit-style house, I didn't mean that I want to copy a Hobbit house. Just wanted to borrow sort of the aesthetic of it and try to like come up with my own version of it. Basically what I mean by that is I wanted a little structure that was kind of like stuck in the ground and sticking out, and that's the technical term of what I was trying to do. And honestly, I really like how this whole part turned out. I think it really fits that corner of the park. And you'll see after I'm done with all these details how much better it looks. In just a few moments too, I'm going to be adding some windows, but not necessarily on those doors. You're going to see in a moment, because I was experimenting with that and it turned out really nice. And you can let me know in the comments if you agree or not. But I have a whole list of topics that I want to talk about. Well, it's not like a huge list, but just a few things that I want to talk about as we go through this time lapse. So let me first talk about Alpha 3. I'm probably going to be making pauses in between my various ramblings to explain what I'm doing. Like, for example, here, one of the things that I wanted to do is, for the most part in this episode, is to start tying up loose ends, similarly to what I'm doing on my City Skylines series, if you're watching that one, where I'm going to dedicate a couple episodes if I can, not necessarily, one after the other, but I want to start fixing all these like gaps in between the different rides so that the whole park starts coming together. And over here, what I did is just create a bit of a sand pit where, I just put different assets in different angles just to create, like like the sensation like this, all these props kind of washed ashore from like a ship that sank or something. And I think it turned out really nice, and it totally brought together the ride that's in the back, the Victory, as well as the restaurant that's right in there in the back. If the camera keeps switching so fast, I won't be able to point out what the back of each of these things is. But in any case, you understand. I don't have to explain everything. So yeah, moving on. Alpha 3 is coming out August 23rd. Got an email from the developers, and I'm sure many of you, if you're like a fanatic of this game, I'm sure you already read this on Reddit or on some other website. But yeah, it's coming out on August 23 or 23rd, and it's also going to be available on Steam. Right now, the game only works with the Frontier launcher, which is not great. It's not bad, but it's just, I'd rather keep everything on Steam. It's just much easier for me, I guess. So yeah, it's coming out on Steam, and I think the game running on the Frontier launcher is not going to work anymore, because they're going to be working. I don't know if this is going to be, a thing from day one after it comes out, but I think Steam Workshop and like community assets are going to become a thing really soon, or that's what they hinted. It also seems like the rumors, at least, are that there's going to finally be water as a one of the major features for Alpha 3. There's already a couple of videos on YouTube. You can search for them that showcase water elements, and as well as a different biome. I think what was the biome? I think it's like desert biome, which looks like all like really red dirt. But yeah, you can look up some screenshots and videos of that. I'm sure you can find them easily. I'm really excited about those things. My worry is that, as before, when we jump from Alpha 1 to Alpha 2, is for my save game to not be completely corrupted and not work anymore. I highly doubt that will be the case. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to finish this park by then. So even if that happens, it is what it is. We won't be able to do much about that. I'm sure it won't anything bad will happen. It's just, I'm sure it's going to break a little, a few little things, but for the most part, I think it's just going to be fine. Now on this area right here, I'm working on, I guess, the highlight of this episode, which is this windmill that I'm sure you saw on the screenshots and on the title of this video. And it took me a little while to get that, that piece that goes in an angle from the base to the top of the tower. I was using reference pictures from Dutch windmills, so I don't want to say, I'm building a Dutch windmill, because I'm sure there's going to be some Dutch geeks, like windmill geeks, telling me, no, you did it wrong because of A, B, and Z. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. So I guess I'm only being inspired by Dutch windmills. Silver, if you're watching this, you can let me know whether or not I did a good job. But yeah, for the most part, it was a little tricky getting that rounded corner. But I managed to, you see, I'm trying this driftwood here, but then I realized that was not a good idea. But eventually I get it right, and you'll see in a minute. I'm using these, I don't know what the name of the asset is, but it's basically, here, I'm going to select it in a moment, that thing over there. And I'm using the back part of it as a really thin, layer of wood that kind of goes up. But there was one big issue that I realized after the fact, after I was done with this part, which is that, so as you can see, I'm building this really close to the element or to the building. But when you zoom away, the texture, which is a texture that you're not supposed to see, because that's usually on the other end of a building when you use this prop, in the normal way. The freaking texture despawns when you zoom away. You're going to see it after I'm done filling all these little gaps. I'm going to zoom out, and you're going to see it for like a split second, how those disappear when you zoom out. Let's see. Over there. Yeah, and you're going to see it again a couple times. The freaking thing despawned after I spend probably, I don't know, like 40 minutes getting that angle right. I'm like, why is this happening? Don't worry. I found a solution to that, and you'll see it in a few moments during this time lapse. But it was so frustrating when I saw it for the first time, because I was really happy with it. Looks so smooth that I couldn't believe how well it all came together. And eventually, I was just really thankful that I come up with a solution to that, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let me finish talking about Alpha 3. So August 23rd is when it's going to be released, and the alpha period, if you want to pre-order the game, is actually going to end on August 25th. I'm guessing at this point, if you're like a fanatic of the game, you already bought it, and if you're not, you're probably waiting for the full game, or at least a more stable beta, simply because, well, it's actually pretty expensive for an alpha, in my opinion. So I wouldn't, unless you're like really need to have this game, like I said at the beginning of this series, or actually I don't know if I said it on one of my review videos, but unless you really, really want this game, I don't think it's worth that amount of money, even though you're like helping fund the game in a way. It's like, it's a undercover Kickstarter operation. That's what I think it is, which is totally fine. It's totally legitimate, but it's good to know that, that's what it is, or at least that's what I think it is. Over here, I was trying many different configurations to get, the top part. I don't know, what do you call, in my mind, I keep calling the propellers, but I think that's like a plain term. So you can let me know in the comments what the name of that is. I guess I could just Google it, but it's been a long process recording this one, and I really didn't have time to find all the proper terms for or all the proper windmill lingo. And it's okay. I don't need to know everything about windmills. That's why I have you guys. You can teach me things if I don't know them. In any case, so Alpha 3, talk about Alpha 3. Okay. Let's see. I'm all over the place today. I have to apologize. It's so warm in here too. It's I don't know exactly what the temperature is, but I had to turn my fan off because, well, obviously I'm recording. I don't want to get all that wind blowing sound on the microphone. But I'm basically sweating right now. It's not great, but it's okay. We're gonna get this video done. And one thing that I wanted to talk about too is something that I've been thinking as I was working on this, and this is something that I've also been thinking for quite some time, is I don't know if this happens to you too. You can let me know in the comments, but I feel like lately I've been playing this game more as a, for like the aesthetic of all these buildings and creating this custom beautiful buildings with all these cool assets, and not so much, adding rides. Like, I feel like almost like rides kind of like ruin what I build, because they're like really flashy colors, which I guess I could have gone with a park style. Oh, by the way, parenthesis, this is the solution that I found to fixing those corners, because using this driftwood planks, they don't despawn when you zoom away. They go into a low poly version, but it's fine. From far away, you don't really notice. So what I'm doing here is just duplicating on each of the corners, but just want to point that out. So if you have the same problem, try those, and that will fix the despawning of textures, at least if you're using that asset that I was using before. In any case, going back to my rumblings about various things, I was just noticing that it's way more fun to just build things and not necessarily add rides. And it almost feels like this. I consider Planet Coaster to be more of a village building simulator in a way. And I feel like many people, they don't necessarily say it, but watching at other YouTubers, build their constructions and everything, all the time they put in and the commentary they do, it almost seems like we're all pretty much on the same page. We to us, rides are like a secondary thing, and we focus more on getting like beautiful buildings and cool little create our custom assets when we can't find what we're looking for. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think, because it's gonna dictate, I feel like, what the rest of the episodes will be, or of future seasons 2 of this series would be, at least for me. Be definitely focused. The same way you can play Minecraft from a survival point of view, and the same way you can just build, go in creative mode and build like an amazing construction, or simply just do a bunch of redstone, that kind of thing. You can play the same game in many different ways. Whereas this one, there's definitely the amusement aspect of it, but you can also like build a gorgeous city or like little town. So I don't know, just food for thought, I guess. In any case, let's go back to the time lapse here. I'm building this suspended toilet. Actually, that's probably not the right term, but what I'm trying to say is I'm building this toilet that kind of goes as in the form of a pier, over the water. So I extended that fake lake that we have. I also put down that air conditioning unit in the back of the building, because nobody would see that, and bathrooms could use some air conditioning sometimes. So I just wanted to make it a little more realistic, and I went again for the roof garden, which if you remember correctly, the the entrance to the ride, to the Victory ride, also has the same roof tile, and the other ride that we have on the other, I think the Magic Trail, also has the same aesthetic. So that's kind of I'm gonna try to use that as a theme for many other, tiny little buildings, which I think look great. And they just add a ton of color and make the whole thing look really interesting. Now over here, I'm adding this custom edge that has a light built in. I don't know if you remember this, but we did this piece. I brought it from the other side of the map where the first, fake river that we built was, and we did that a railing with lights that I think looks really good at night. And I decided that it also looked nice for this, as the boundaries for this massive planter. And over here, obviously, I'm correcting, the terraforming that I did, the floating trees, and definitely adding props pretty much throughout the area, just so that everything starts flowing a little bit better. I added the tent with all those, wooden materials. I don't know exactly what those are, because they almost look like trash, but they're not trash. I think they have a purpose. It's just that I don't know what it is. In any case, this whole area, I'm loving it. I think it turned out great. I mean, nothing too crazy about it. Just the same combination of flowers, bushes, and vines, and this tiny little detail that I just loved how it looked. Using the planks as steps going up and kind of rotating on its axis too. I don't know if you notice in detail, but they look like they're floating. They're not, just so you know, they're not floating. Is the shadows of the game are not polished to that level, so it almost looks like if they were floating, but they're not. I promise you. Now, I want to talk about, because we're getting close to the end of the time lapse. I want to talk about some plans that I have for the next couple of episodes. I want to keep doing this thing where I just fix a few little empty areas in between the different rides. One big construction that I want to do is an amphitheater. I don't know exactly where I want to build this. I have a few ideas, but that will be, I guess, a surprise for the next episode. Probably going to be working on that. Obviously, the windmill is not finished. I mean, sorry, let me rephrase that. The building itself, I don't think I want to add any more details to it. You're going to see in detail in a moment. I think I did some really cool shots of the windmill and in more detail, like this one. So I'm not expecting to add a lot of detail to the building itself, but I think obviously around this construction is just all empty grass, and I think we need to do a little bit of work there. So since this is Dutch inspired construction, I guess we're going to be probably adding a ton of flowers around it, like a bit of a flower garden. I think that's going to look nice. And obviously, if I come up with something that I think looks good, I'll come back to that and add it to the building itself. Nothing is ever finished in this series. Actually, in any of my series, nothing is ever finished. So if you think that we can improve any of the things that you're looking at, please let me know in the comments. And if I agree with you, I will certainly tackle those things. I gotta be honest, I wasn't really expecting to make that much progress in this episode, but man, I feel so good now that we accomplished all the things that we did, and I have so many ideas for the next episode that I don't think I even have time to do those. But unfortunately, time is what we no longer have for this one. So if you enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking the like button. Maybe we can get to 50 likes. That seems like a pretty ambitious milestone. And also, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. There's also a link in the description of this video to the full playlist, in case, you might have missed an episode or two. But that's all I have to say for now. I want to thank you all for watching. Really hope to see you on the next one.